Hello everyone, I just saw Swamp Thing, so if you haven't checked out Swamp Thing on DC Universe, do so right now. It's based upon the comic book, and yes, Wes Craven did make an adaptation of this in the early 80s. This is a wonderful show, and unfortunately, due to tax rebate and $40 million loss, a whole bunch of behind the scenes mess, it's canceled after one episode, but I must say, DC Universe is really setting a precedent of being different than other comic book shows, adding a quality to their programming. You have Titans, Doom Patrol, and now Swamp Thing. So here I'm going to go over my spoiler-filled thoughts. Here we go. So I just saw Swamp Thing on DC Universe, and this was a wonderful show. 10-episode first season, and I'm just upset that it's canceled because we're never going to have Justice League Dark, them have like Zatanna, Constantine. There's so many nods to the future of Swamp Thing if you're familiar with the character and the comics that this show hinted towards that. I was just like, oh. So HBO, if you're out there, pick up Swamp Thing. Warner Brothers, instead of rebooting it with a different cast, just either continue a season 2 or get the same cast. So we have Crystal Reed as Abigail Arcane. Of course, that's Abby Arcane from the comics. She's Swamp Thing's love interest. And then as Alec Holland and Swamp Thing, we have Andy Bean and Derek Mears. Andy Bean provides some great acting as Alec Holland. We get to see him in his human form in the first episode, and I love the relationship between him and Abigail. There's definitely some chemistry there, and it's tragic what happens. It's very much like 30s pulp comics what happens, you know. He ends up coming across these people tainting the swamp. And that's why Abby Arcane's there. She's with the CDC. There's this disease. There's something going on with the plant life that's just unnatural. So we get to see them investigate this swamp. And of course, he comes across the wrong people and is shot down, but the swamp embraces him and turns him into Swamp Thing. And Derek Mears, he's been in many roles, a lot of horror films. He provides some great acting here. And I love the practical effects, you know. The practical effects go a long way with makeup and eye contacts and stuff. I just love that. Meanwhile, Abby has this history with this family called the Sunderlands. She knew their daughter, so we have Will Patton and Virginia Madsen. We also have Kevin Durant as Dr. Woodward, the doctor that they hired to investigate this plant life, the Sutherlands, and he's just out there, man. He played Blob, he was on Lost, he's a great actor, and he adds a bit of insanity here. We also have a stuntman, former stuntman, video store owner, Dale Cassidy, played by Ian Ziering. He does a great job here. There's a lot of cool nods to the Blue Devil from the Swamp Thing comics, and I just love how they play around with mythology. The soundtrack is great. There's so many like 80s hits and stuff, but the quality and cinematography of the show are great. I love it when Swamp Thing goes crazy and there's like vines and everything. This definitely has some horror elements. You know, James Wan's a producer, and this is developed and directed by Len Wiseman, who did the first 2 Underworld films and Live Free or Die Hard, so there's definitely that quality to it. Overall, the first couple of episodes start off very strong. We get to see Abby investigate this place. All these crazy occurrences happen with plants and diseases. And then we meet Swamp Thing, and she doesn't know it's Alec Holland, so there's that whole journey there. And he doesn't know who he was. So there's that whole journey of Swamp Thing remembering that he used to be a man, and if there's any way to revert it. And it's crazy. I have to say the show does slow down a bit towards the later episodes, kind of in the middle. I don't know if it's because they found out they were getting canceled or what, but it just kind of dragged. It didn't have the momentum. But the momentum quickly picks up when we have the secret organization. Man, I love that. And Adrienne Barbeau actually guest star. She was the original Abby Arcane. I love her in this role. Quick little cameo. And these people capturing Swamp Thing, the Sutherlands, that whole betrayal revelations there. We also have Jennifer Beals as the sheriff here. There's a lot with her and her son and law enforcement. I love that all these characters are connected in the small town. And Will Patton is great in this. He's really villainous. There's that part with Turtle Soup that's just so messed up. I just love Swamp Thing. This is one of the most refreshing new original shows, and based on a DC comic. I was familiar with Swamp Thing, but I'm not a regular reader, so now I want to pick up some Swamp Thing comics after this show. Overall, it's exciting at the very end, and that whole revelation of Alec Holland not being alive, you know, and this plant being something that captured his memories was just so shocking. Seeing the Blue Devil, seeing all these characters and things go in motion. The ending is a solid ending, but it makes me wonder if it was kind of cut short. You know, it's supposed to be 13 episodes and it went down to 10, and it was so kind of open-ended, but yet closed. Like, they tied a lot of loose ends, but it definitely kind of felt soft after that exciting penultimate episode of episode 9. So if I had to give Swamp Thing a score, I give it a 4.5 out of 5 and an A. This is a high quality show. I love Doom Patrol and I love this. They're two of the best comic book shows since like Daredevil on Netflix. And I hope we get more stuff like this from comics we don't know. You know, actually be true to the source material. And this delves into like the horror genre. There's some screwed up stuff in this. There really is. But I love Swamp Thing, and yeah, it has a Beauty and the Beast element to the show with Abby and Alec. And it's a shame it got canned. I'm hoping it gets picked up, so hashtag save Swamp Thing, have HBO read your messages, pick it up. HBO CW, but to be honest, I'd rather have it on HBO. They can get away with a lot more in the horror elements and stuff, so yeah. Hopefully they do that or get a movie with this cast. I mean, it'd be okay for a reboot, but why? You have a perfect cast here. Crystal Reed's awesome as Abby Arcane, and we have Swamp Thing. This is done practically. He looks legit. I mean, I want to play some Injustice 2 now. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Swamp Thing. If you've seen it, which you probably have if you're watching this, what did you think of Swamp Thing? Let me know what you thought about Swamp Thing down below. If not, if you watch this video with spoilers, shame on you. Go to the DC Universe app and check it out. Follow me on the Stardust app for more reactions at Fred Film Fanatic, and you can check out these videos on my channel. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell for more notifications. Till next time.